Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PSF1, Purple Sector F1 Racing League. Today, here, January 25th, we're going through the wonderful circuit of the Suzuka. Excuse me, oh my goodness. The Suzuka International Racing Course. I do apologize. I do want to provide our viewers a quick heads up. That sickness that befell me earlier in the year riled up my bronchitis, unfortunately. So I've been having these intermediate coughs. So I do apologize ahead of time. I will attempt to be muting myself during my coughing fits. I can go for about like 15 seconds on the coughing fit sometimes. So if I, for some reason, just go completely silent, I do want to just give you that little heads up that it is most likely me dying. No worries though. I am not actually dying. I am going through it a little bit. So I thank you guys for your understanding on that front. So again, if I mute, it's because I'm having a coughing fit and I don't want to blow your eardrums. But back to it. Did the Pats win? Let's go. I didn't watch the game. That's awesome. I missed it. I was LMU racing, to be quite honest with you, Prosk. Welcome to the chat though. Drunk sim driving is one of the best types of driving. Purple Sector F1 does not condone IRL drunk driving. Please don't do that. Excuse me. No drunk driving IRL. But when it comes to sim racing, do indulge. The Pats are taking the Super Bowl, if you were to ask me, Prosk. Actually, that's a lie. I think the Seahawks are a little too good. But besides the point, that's football talk. We're here for some Formula One. Today, January 25th, as I previously mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, we're racing here in the wonderful circuit of Suzuka, where we will be having a sprint race today. Next week, we will be racing in Qatar, and the Qatar race will serve as a double point race. So anybody who's trying to get any last minute points in for the constructors or for their individual drivers championship standing, Qatar will be the place to do it. After that, we will have the Monza Dutch and Austria sprint decider to find who is the true driver champion of the Purple Sector F1 League. Ooh. This microphone's kind of hard to mute. Oh, good heavens. I apologize. But moving on, ladies and gentlemen, on to our wonderful track stats here for today. As you guys can see, it's Suzuka's one of the more interesting tracks of the season. It's one of my personal favorites, at least to drive for like hot laps. I definitely don't enjoy driving it in a racing scenario, to be quite frank with you. It's a very technical circuit, and I feel like my racecraft just isn't good enough to be able to do a lot of the side-by-side diving that can occur on this track with other drivers. In fact, I anticipate there's going to be some good amount of contact at the beginning of this race. Now, our drivers are incredibly clean, but I just feel like this circuit has such sharp, fast turning corners that sometimes a little bit of wheel bumping is unavoidable. But moving on, the Suzuka track is located in the Mie Prefecture in Japan, and was first introduced to Formula One in 1962. It was created by a gentleman called John Hugenholtz, who was a part of the Honda company at the time. So this is a Honda track, from my understanding and research. So that's pretty cool that Honda has like a track, but then again, I guess Red Bull has a track. And I'm sure other manufacturers technically have tracks that I might not be aware of at this moment. But the track is a fairly it's actually not terribly long. It's about hitting the average of a lot of our other tracks. A 5.81 kilometer track, or about 3.61 miles. It has 18 corners, though, which I do believe makes it one of the more corner-heavy tracks of the grid, with 10 left-handers and 8 right-handers, followed by about a 40-meter elevation change, or 131 feet, for anybody who is interested in such facts. So it's a comfortable elevation change. Now, something that's super cool I want to point out here. I wish I could just point at the grid for you guys. But right there, coming out of turn 9, where turn 15 is, that's actually like an underpass. So the track goes over itself, which is super cool. If you're really slow and or really fast, you can hear the cars either above or below you. So it's pretty fun, actually. It's a cool little sound effect that occurs. We might get to experience that here today. We'll have to see. But going through our sector overview, ladies and gentlemen, let's walk through the track here now. Starting at the finish line there between the yellow and the red where you see the checkered flag, we have this wonderful little straight here. Now, this is the only straight that has DRS on it. So it's a pretty popular overtaking zone. It's not terribly long in my opinion, though it definitely feels long. I think it's one of the shorter true straights that exist in the Formula calendar. But besides the point, as you come up to turn 1 and 2, this section here is called the first curve. Now, the first curve is two turns that kind of exist in one. It's a very awkward set of corners, if you were to ask me. You have to carry your momentum in properly, or you can very easily lose the rear of your car, which causes its own set of problems. But after you come out of turn 2, you hit the wonderful S's. So S's here are 3, 4, 5, and 6. Very fast, very rhythmic before you hit a nice little left-hander called the Degner 1. It's a pretty fun little section, very technical. You can easily lose a lot of time on your laps here going through Sector 1. Now, it's a fairly relentless sector, and it requires a lot of commitment. Once you find a line, you have to stick to it, because slowing down to readjust your line, which sometimes is just a necessary thing you have to do, will really slow you down. And when you hit the Degner 1 or turn 7 here, the speed you carry is going to be critical as you start Sector 2 here in turn 8 or Degner 2. So the Degner 2 is a very obtuse angle corner. You can carry a lot of speed into it. It's very sketchy. It feels terribly sketchy in the car, to be honest with you. You feel like you're going to lose the car. But very satisfying to hit. It's not actually that difficult, if you were to ask me. And then you come up on a very sharp, like 92-degree turn on turn 9. I couldn't find a name for turn 9, so I'm just going to call that room temp. I regret saying that joke. Turn 9 has a nice little 92-degree right-hander here that goes under the bridge that I just lost a viewer after saying that. Baby, come back. I know you on the move. I think I got copyright strike for that one. That was a pretty good little song there. Excuse me. Coming out of turn 9, though, you get a nice little straight here before you hit turn 10 and 11. Now, turn 10 is a very obtuse turn before you hit the very important turn 11 hairpin here. Now, this is actually a pretty wide hairpin, even by F1 standards, if you were to ask me. I think you can uncomfortably fit 3 cars wide. Now, it's going to be the slowest hairpin known to man, obviously, if 3 cars try to go through there together. But it's possible, hypothetically speaking. Coming out of turn 11, though, your exit of turn 11, the hairpin here, is crucial, because going into turn 12 up until turn 13, it's all speed. It's a very long right-hander. A lot of overtaking opportunity here, actually, before you hit turn 13. And turn 13 and 14 are very similar to the first curve. In fact, I'm looking at them right now, and they look identical, except just flipped over. So that's kind of cool. Inversed T1, T2, and then T13, T14. But regardless of the point, ladies and gentlemen, T13, T14 is referred to as the spoon. I've brought up this spoon corner a lot in previous tracks here, so for those of you who may not be aware of what I've been referring to, you'll see spoon, the actual spoon, today. Now, this is a very interesting one. Unlike T1 and T2, though, it doesn't have a lot of banking, so drivers have to make sure they enter this perfectly. Just like the S's in Sector 1, having to readjust your speed through this portion of the track can be absolutely brutal. Not only that, it's really hard to overtake here, so you risk getting rear-ended, or you risk hitting somebody if you carry too much speed here. And then not only that, if you get a bad T14 exit, you have this super long semi-straight between Sector 2 to Sector 3 here. So a very technical sector, very long turns, obviously, as I'd mentioned with turn 12, and it has a lot of tire wear, in particular because of turn 12. There's a pretty brutal amount of tire wear here. Turn 13 and 14 definitely don't help the case here. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for Sector 2. Coming up on a Sector 3 now, starting at turn 15. I do apologize. I received a message here, and I need to make sure I don't need to do something. My boss does yell at me violently. No, I'm kidding. Money the Merchant, ladies and gentlemen, is the director of motorsport here. He's an awesome guy. Absolutely love him. Very, very supportive. So if you're new here and you're interested in joining, this is the place to do it. I started my sim racing career. I say that like I do this professionally. I started my sim racing indulgence in PSF1. I've since opened up to other leagues as well in different motorsport aspects. I absolutely love this league. I highly encourage you guys to join it. We have two different divisions. So what you guys are watching right now is Division 1. This is our fast division. We do have a Division 2, which is for rookies, which is just kind of supposed to help any new guys want to get into the groove of sim racing or F1 racing in general. A lot of fun, though, and I highly encourage you to join. We should have a link below the stream here. If that doesn't work, drop something in the chat, and I will reach out to you. But enough about that. Moving on into Sector 3 here, we have the incredibly famous 130R Turn 15. Now, I'm sure many of us, if not all of us here, have seen the famous Alonso versus Michael Schumacher pass here, where at the time it was a very impressive pass. The cars back then didn't have the downforce they do now. But Alonso went around the outside on 130R with Michael Schumacher on the inside, and he managed to gain the position. And it's not only very famous for how incredibly aggressive and dangerous the pass was, but at the end, during the interview, Alonso said that he knew, this is a summarized quote, he said that he knew Michael Schumacher was going to break because he has a wife and 2 kids. So one of the craziest passes and quotes involved on a pass ever. Very famous corner, though. Nowadays, unfortunately, with the modern cars, it's very easy to go flat out. It's very easy to even go side by side through them. So through turn 15, I mean. So not as crazy now, but nonetheless a historically wonderful curve here. But coming out of turn 15, you hit the Casio triangle here. Turn 16, 17 is a very tight chicane here. It's kind of hard to go too wide. In fact, a lot of the clips from Suzuka the last 2 years have one driver veering off track because they just don't think it's worth the possible damage you may receive going through turn 16, 17. A lot of overtaking opportunity here, and then that obviously leads into turn 18, which then restarts the track here for us. So a fun little track across the board. Excuse me. If you're good at Suzuka, I want to say you're a pretty good driver. That's just my personal opinion on it. But if anybody has any opinions on this track, do drop it in the chat. I absolutely love talking with you guys. Again, one of my favorites to go fast on, not one of my favorites to race on, to be quite frank. I've gotten to experience this track in GT3 as well, and I don't even know if I like it in GT3, and I really doubt I'd like it in any other sport when it comes to racing. But again, when it comes to just speed, when it comes to just like feeling like you're painting art, this is the track. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for joining me here. We are starting the load in to our main event here. It's going to be a short sprint qualifying. I'd like to remind everybody that we are doing a qualifying or a sprint race today. So that could get everybody a good idea about what to expect for the full race. That might give some of our drivers an opportunity to maybe maybe strategize a little bit, see what they could do, how they can react to other drivers. But nonetheless, it is going to be a wonderfully fun time here, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Prosk, if you're in there, I do want to ask how much you've had, if you'd so indulge me. We'll wait for Prosser to answer. He's probably a little sluggish right now. All right, guys. We are loading into our qualifying right now. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Let me move the game cap over. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Suzuka GP here. We have a 16-man grid today, a very exciting grid. And I didn't realize this. We have Mr. Boss in the Haas. I did not mean for that to rhyme. Mr. Boss is a incredible driver who has not been able to join us this season. It looks like he will be joining us as a reserve driver. Mr. Boss is quite a fast individual as well, so this could be a pretty big shakeup to the grid right now. We're going to have to see what happens. In fact, both Haas cars are now coming out of the grid, and let's see. I believe we're on Mr. Boss, who is the lead Haas car right now, followed very closely by CF1 Harold here. Let me throw on some track map data for you guys, as well as telemetry for those of you interested. And let's get on the car itself. I love hearing these things go through the track, but right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going through the S's right now. This right here is T5, hitting T6 now. This is Denger 1, or turn 7. Coming up on the Denger 2, turn 8. This is turn 9 here. Nice little deep turn there. You got a lot of camber there. This is turn 10 into turn 11. It's pretty much instantaneous here. As you guys can see, a very wide hairpin. Exit will be crucial here for lap time. This is all turn 12 here. So you guys might notice here right now, Mr. Boss is doing a lot to heat up his tires right now. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I feel like I got something stuck in my throat. I would like to remind the viewers here, as we have more individuals joining, I do have bronchitis that got flared up due to a sickness. I will be muting myself randomly due to coughing fits. Just to avoid blowing your guys' eardrums out, so I do apologize. That was 130R that we just went through there, turn 15. Coming up into turn 16, 17 here, the Casio Triangle. And swinging down into turn 18, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Boss here in the Haas will be starting our very first qualifying lap. Now, it's a nice little long straight here, downhill, a lot of speed as you go into the first curve, turn 1 right there, hitting turn 2 now. You want to make sure you follow the ideal line there as we have the McLaren move off to the side, not to impede Mr. Boss there. Good moves there. Going through the S's, you guys can see how fast he's going. I mean, 130. Well, he dropped down to 116 now, but 130 miles per hour there through multiple right-left-handers almost instantaneously here. Very sharp left hand upward into the Denger 1, hitting Denger 2 now. Good camber on this one. You can really swing through turn 9 right here. Hitting turn 10, now swinging through turn 11. I do want to say this has been a phenomenal lap so far, if you were to ask me. Mr. Boss, again, one of the better drivers I've gotten to see here. I'm quite excited to have him back here today, even if it is just for one race. Hitting turn 13 now. Ooh, almost losing the rear there from what I could tell. Going through turn 14 now. This is Spoon, ladies and gentlemen. That is Spoon right there. Nice little straight here. Pseudo straight. I'm going to call it a pseudo straight because it's not actually technically straight. Hitting 130R now. A little bit of curb there on the left tire. Coming up on the Casio Triangle. And ladies and gentlemen, as he loses control of the car a little bit here coming out of turn 18, Mr. Boss here will be setting our first time a 128.198 here for today. A fantastic lap if you were to ask me. As CF1 Harold follows him closely here, a 129.403. No cap, a 128.707. We managed to join him right there at the end here. We now have Rebel in the Alpine here. Coming up on a 130R, he's getting a lot of slipstream right now because of this Aston Martin in front of us. It looks like the Aston Martin is unfortunately on a hot lap. This may be a little bit of impeding from the Aston Martin and could possibly affect Rebel's time here. We're going to have to see what happens here. Both the Aston Martin and Rebel will cross the line here. GDB going into 6th position. Rebel moving up into 2nd. Almost exactly 1/10 behind Mr. Boss. You have to ask yourself if the impeding of the Aston Martin maybe cost Rebel a podium here for the sprint race. Questions. But do apologize. I am adjusting something off screen here at the moment. Do bear with me. Thank you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have Prosk here, who is our certified drunkard of the session right now. Going into the pit lane here, I was hoping to see him hit a quick lap, but we'll have to catch him another time. We're now watching the other Aston Martin here of IUF1 William. We've seen a lot of action with IUF1 William. He might actually be getting a little bit of slipstream from his partner here ahead of him. A pretty good tactic, if you were to ask me. Just utilizing what you have here, and sometimes what you have is your teammate. Very strong swing in the spoon here. I have to ask myself if GDB is going to move out of the way here for his teammate, who is on an absolute rager right now, moving around the outside here, coming up on a 130R. It did seem like GDB let off the throttle here. I'm unsure if GDB's trying to go for a faster time, as IUF1 William moves up into 5th position here at 129.124. Let's see, who have we not watched yet who was on an outlap? Ladies and gentlemen, we're now on board here with Mini B-Man in the Williams. Now, we've seen some pretty good racing from Mini B-Man throughout this season here. Very strong swing into turn 9. Fantastic swing into turn 9. Good heavens. Or turn 8, Denger 2. Excuse me. But while we're watching Mini B-Man here perform his outlap, I'm extremely curious. Did anybody here watch the Daytona 24-hour? That was a pretty fun watch. I was a little disappointed with the fog. I get why they had to do the safety car fog thing, but that was like, I don't even remember how long that was. I think it occurred at a point where I wasn't really watching. It was like 3 hours though, wasn't it? Absolutely brutal. I'm a Ford fan, Ford racing fan as well. So it was super disappointing to see the number 64 car go out. When I realized that we weren't going to finish on the podium, I stopped watching, to be quite frank. So the last 30 minutes were, last like hour, I mean, was like nothing. I didn't watch it, admittedly. But I'm not even sure where the number 65 finished. In fact, both the Ford and the Chevrolet team didn't do very good in the 24-hour, which I was a little surprised about considering how dominant. Oh, Mini B-Man losing it. Still valid, though. He did not have all wheels off the track. He is going to continue to push here. Unfortunate exit coming out of turn 2. Mini B-Man lost the rear of the car and swung straight into the grass. But, as I was saying, as we're watching Mini B-Man here hit Denger 2 now. A lot of locking up into turn 9 here. Good use of curb, though. Now, again, this is the sprint qualifying session, so quite admittedly, drivers may not want to use more than the one compound they're utilizing right now. Suzuka is a very, very high tire wear track, so risking losing viable tires due to even one lap could really screw up your long-time race strategy, especially over the weekend. I do appreciate the long form sprint qualifying format in that regard. I think it adds a little more tire strategy. Obviously, it might not add a lot of like race fun to watch, I guess. I don't know how to say that, enjoyment to the race. I know a lot of people dislike sprint racing, but I think as somebody who likes the back end of the grid too, I can only imagine what the strategist team must be going through, trying to figure out how to allocate their tires and all that good stuff. But a fairly good lap here for Mini B-Man, putting him up into 8th position here, a 129.382. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, we have Grumpy Dad here coming up to the end of his lap, moving up into 11th position, going over GDB, a 129.977. Now, I did mention how it might not be worth using tires here, but we actually have Mr. Boss and Rebel, our number 1 and number 2 sitters right now, coming out on soft tires now. So this is about a 10-minute session, I believe. Obviously, nearly the entire grid has hit the track here at this point. There's going to be a lot of rubber on the track now. A lot of drivers were using medium tires as well. I'm curious if they're going to try to use those for the sprint. But besides the point, there's a lot of rubber on track now. Soft tires are going to far exceed what people might be expecting here of speed. As Rebel here debates moving out of the way for the Mercedes behind him here. I believe Mudev is behind him. Strong braking here. Mudev will possibly have slipstream advantage here, which could help him go up into provisional pole. And actually, I do apologize. Oh, no, Mudev is following. Okay, never mind. I thought Mudev was going into the pits. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now watching Rebel here, a contender for pole position, swing through turn 1 and 2. Phenomenal speed. You can really tell that those soft tires are doing work right now. The mechanical grip must be absolutely insane here. A little bit of lag there as we see him go through turn 5. Coming up on the Denver 1 now. Good little uphill left-hander here. A lot of speed. 170 as he hits the top of the slope here. Going through Denver 2. Almost losing the rear, it looked like. Phenomenal turn 9. All right. Rebel's going to want to make sure he gets a phenomenal exit out of here, as this will be dictating his Sector 2 lap time here. NASCAR Freak, ladies and gentlemen, in the Alpine, a 128.349. Phenomenal drive. I said Alpine, excuse me. In the V-Car, fantastic drive here from NASCAR Freak. Very strong through Spoon there. It did look like he lost control of the car there at the apex of the 2 turns. That may have costed a little bit of lap time. All the cars on track, I believe, right now are currently on a valid lap time as he sets a purple Sector 2. Ladies and gentlemen, Rebel just set a purple Sector 2 as he now comes up through the Casio Triangle, sticking close to the wall here through turn 18. Ladies and gentlemen, Rebel, a 127.213. Phenomenal drive as we join Mr. Boss here. Muda follows him closely behind, a 127.596. IUF1 William, a 128.028 right now. There's a lot of drivers on track still. We're going to have to see what happens here. Oop. I'm throwing. There we go. Coming up into the Casio Triangle, major lockup there from Mr. Boss as he swings through. Phenomenal use of curb and track limits there. Trying to use all the battery he can as he swings through in a 127.680. Mr. Boss, unfortunately, not able to reclaim the top spot here. Drops to 3rd position now, as we still have Reimer in the Ferrari as a possible contender here for podium. Going through the 130R here. Hitting the Casio Triangle. A little bit deep into the first corner of the triangle here. An absolutely fantastic drive by the Ferrari driver here. A 127.577. It says 127.578. Refs, somebody check this. Fantastic drive nonetheless here by the Scuderia Ferrari driver here. I'm quite excited to see how this sprint race is going to go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a driver that you want to support, do drop something in the chat. These guys love seeing support from viewers. You know, a little bit of fan love is always appreciated. Maybe we get some merch going. Imagine we get merch for one of these guys. Reimer's helmet's kind of clean though, black and gold. I like that. Did you guys see that the Ferrari car failed on its first outing on the 2026 car? That's so sad, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you have right now your sprint qualifying start here. Rebel in the Alpine in 1st place, followed by Reimer in the Ferrari. 2nd place, Mahmudev in the Mercedes. 3rd place, Mr. Boss joining us here after quite some time in the Haas. 4th place, IUF1 William in the Aston Martin. 5th place, NASCAR Freak in the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls in 6th place. No Cap in the McLaren, 7th place. CF1 Harold. Excuse me. CF1 Harold here in the Haas as well. Money in the McLaren, 9th position. Mini B-Man in the Williams, 10th place. GDB 0791 in the Aston Martin, 11th place here. Gunner AD 77 in the Alpine. We have seen Gunner be a McLaren driver, so I'm a little oh, I forgot actually. Ladies and gentlemen, No Cap is an official driver for McLaren. We haven't had this gentleman join us for quite some time, unfortunately. If you have been joining us recently, then you may recognize that Gunner has typically been in the McLaren seat. Gunner is now in the Alpine seat, starting in 12th position for us today. Papatism in the Red Bull. 13th position, Grumpy Dad at 914 in the Mercedes-AMG, 14th place. And I admittedly did not catch the last two drivers, but we have a pretty strong grid here. It seems like the entire grid is only separated by, let's see. Oop, why'd that do that? Oh, sorry guys. There we go. Good heavens. Sorry about that. I accidentally clicked my trackpad. But it seems like the whole grid is only separated by 3 seconds, which if you were to ask me is pretty impressive. Up until Grumpy Dad, it's a 2.7 second separation. So pretty strong grid lineup here. Any mistake from any driver can give the entirety of the rest of the grid an advantage here. So we're going to have to see what the strategy is as well. There is no pit stops. There are no mandatory pit stops in sprint races. So we're going to, once again, have to see what the strategy call is here. Hard tires aren't actually, in my opinion, the for surefire call when it comes to Suzuka. This track is so high speed and it requires so much on mechanical grip, that being the grip of your tires, that having the hard compound can really jeopardize your control of the car. So we're going to have to see what the strategy call is here for these guys. I anticipate that we're going to be seeing one-shot mediums until the end of the race. I think it's about a 14-lap race for the sprint, or it was I'm pretty sure it's a 14-lap race. But we're going to have to see. I don't think we're going to see any pit stoppers here today, unless somebody thinks that soft softs might be the strategy. There could always be rain as well. We did notice during the qualifying session that there was a lot of clouds in the sky. It was a pretty dark and damp session, from what I could tell. So there could be rain, and that could be a major upset here as well. Suzuka, with how fast it typically is a completely different track in rainy conditions. But currently waiting here, ladies and gentlemen, for all of our drivers to load in. It seems like we're going to have beautiful clear skies here today. I didn't realize that the clouds actually move over time. That's awesome. But it looks like we're going to be having a nice cloudy sprint race here today. Now that may not apply to the full race, so we're going to have to see. I also don't believe Parc Ferme transfers over from sprint, so these guys will be able to mess with their car after this session, tweak some things a little bit, see what they liked, what they didn't like. But if you're joining me here for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your commentator, Wild Hero, the commentator for the Purple Sector F1 Racing League, the F1 Racing League here. If you're interested in joining, we should have a Discord link available for you to click. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be going through a formation lap here. I was completely unsure if we were going to be doing a formation lap. We will get to see all the drivers here right now. And we actually see one of the McLarens in the back spin out here. That may have been... That was No Cap, ladies and gentlemen. No Cap spun out in the back. I was unsure which one of the two that may have been here. We do have Rebel leading us off here. It doesn't look like the McLaren took any damage, which is a good sign for the start of this race here. Hopefully nobody crashes out before the race even starts. But on that note, allow me to walk us through our starting lap here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Rebel in the Alpine here. We've seen some phenomenal races from him this season. We're going to have to see if he puts another wonderful performance today. If you haven't seen it, I believe the Las Vegas GP has been Rebel's most fantastic race. If you were to ask me, I highly recommend you guys watch that. He went from a spin out at the start of the race down into like 15th position and climbed all the way back up to take the win. Fantastic drive from Rebel. Followed here closely by Reimer. Joined the season a little late. He's been a fantastic driver, one of the fastest of the grid though. Mahmudev, who was in contention for Drivers' Championship though, very, very unfortunately, Mahmudev missed 2 races and unfortunately underperformed in one of them as well. So a huge loss of points here. But Mahmudev's rival, MSA Samad, who typically drives the V-Carb, is not here today. So this could be another huge point swing for Mr. Mudev here. Now, Mr. Boss has not joined us this season. This is his first race as far as I'm aware. Fantastic driver. We're going to have to see what he does here today. Ayofan William. We've seen a lot of drama with this guy this season. We're going to have to see what happens today. NASCAR Freak, DI9 in the V-Carb, joining us today as a reserve driver. No Cap one of McLaren's official driver. We haven't seen him for quite some time. We're going to have to see how he does today. CF1 Harold in the Haas here. I don't recognize this gentleman's name either. I believe he's a reserve driver. I'm excited to see what he does today. Money, the director of motorsport here, 9th place in the McLaren. Mini B-Man in the Williams here. Strong move. Oh, overshot that. GDB 0791 in the Aston Martin, followed by Gunner 12 here, who we have seen race a lot in the McLaren. Papatism in the Red Bull. Grumpy Dad in the Mercedes. Prosk, one of our faster drivers here, in the back of the grid, 15th, followed by Despy. And then I missed the last guy, Alex Carr. Ladies and gentlemen, the lights are coming up. Hold on to your seats as away we go. Pretty strong start from Mr. Boss here as we try to see a swing around here from Reimer. Trying to get into the inside of Rebel is not allowed through. Mahmudov is now able to take advantage of the situation and moves up into second position here. We see a little bit of fighting in the back here as one of the McLaren cars is kind of pushed off track by UF1 William. Manages to rejoin a little bit unsafely, if you were to ask me. No damage to any of the cars. We see the other McLaren lose the rear as they come up into Denger 1 now. A lot of changes here as we now have a yellow flag appearing in the back of the grid right now. Fantastic start from all of these guys. A lot of fighting here. Big moments there between the Aston Martin and the McLaren. Thankfully, nothing occurred there, and the McLaren was able to somewhat rejoin the track as we see a dive around the outside there from, who was that? A little bit of side-by-side racing here. I'm not sure if I like these camera angles that much right now. We do have Papatism here. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have Papatism overshooting Spoon here. I didn't realize that the Red Bull team was wearing the Suzuka livery. I thought this was the V-Carb team. I'm so sorry about that. That's kind of awesome, honestly. The white livery is a very, very pretty livery. Unfortunately, Papatism did overshoot Spoon, which shoots him back into last place here. Money making a move. Money dropping down positions, actually, as we have a little bit of ghosting here as Money and Prost now go side by side going into the straight here. Doesn't look like Money has a run. Despy's looking for the inside into T1. It looks like he will be trying to challenge this corner here. Oh, a little bit of contact there. We see Money lose the rear just a little bit. Mini B-Man trying to take advantage of the situation. Not quite close enough to make a move as they move into the S's, though. Absolutely fantastic driving here right now from all of these guys. I am at the edge of my seat right now. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen any crashes yet, to be quite honest with you. We did see Papatism lose the car, but not a major moment. We see NASCAR Freak overshoot a little bit, and we have Mini B-Man in the back who seemed to have lost control of the car coming out of Denger 1 here. Very unfortunate situation here as NASCAR Freak pushes his way through, I believe, moving up into 10th position, fighting his way past one of the Aston Martins. Fantastic, fantastic racing here. This has been action-packed so far. I'm quite excited for the feature race now. Grumpy Dad eyeing the back of the Aston Martin here in the Mercedes. Look at that beautiful silver arrow here. Kind of a bad turn 14 exit that may leave him susceptible to Prosk here right now. Reimer in the front, looking at the back of Mudav and Rebel as well. We're going to have to see if he takes advantage of the situation. Alex here makes a move. It looks like one of our drivers in the back lost control of the car here. It looks like, who was that? I saw CF1 Harold gain 2 positions. I'm assuming somebody lost control of the car there. Unfortunately, we did miss that little bit of action there. Reimer quite close still here. I'm very impressed that these guys are able to stick so closely to each other going through the S's. I feel like the dirty air effect is just so strong in this game. We do see a move here between Grumpy Dad, who loses control of the car. He did manage to make a move on Prosk. Unfortunately, that ended up resulting in 2 lost positions here. Super unfortunate moment for Grumpy Dad. Whoa, that's a crazy camera angle. That's awesome. We see Grumpy Dad overshoot Denger 2, leading to a little bit of off track there. Did not touch the gravel, thankfully. Didn't lose control of the car. Coming up into turn 11 now. Big lockup there for Money as Prosk going side by side with GDB going up into turn 12 here. Does not get the move done. Trying to look for the outside. Prost does have hard tires though, and GDB does have soft, and Prost able to get the move done as they come up on a spoon. Fantastic overtake there. Ladies and gentlemen, we do see a little bit of fighting here between Alex Carew, the GOAT 769, and No Cap here as Alex moves up into 6th position. Now gunning for the back of the Aston Martin here as they come up into the Casio triangle. Big chicane there from No Cap. I think he took out, and losing control of the car into turn 18. No Cap manages to regain control as Alex sets the fastest lap for the session here right now. No Cap has now left himself susceptible, though, ladies and gentlemen, to CF1 Heralds as they come up into the S's here. That loss of control coming out of turn 18. The bronchitis loves flaring up when I get all excited. No Cap leaving himself susceptible to the Haas vehicle here, coming out of turn 18, almost losing control of the car fully here. Prost, ladies and gentlemen, making his way up the field, starting from 15th position, now up to 11th. We have seen Prost here dominate a lot of these races. He is our number 5 driver in the Drivers' Championship, so I'm a little surprised to see him this low. He did forewarn some of us here in the chat, if you're just joining me, that he drank a little before this race. So we are seeing peak Prost right now. This is as good as he's going to get. Let's jump up here to the front of the grid here. Ladies and gentlemen, our top 4 drivers are all separated by a second and a half almost. A second and a half. This has been some incredible racing here as we now sit in with Mr. Boss and the Haas here, eyeing the back of the grid here. Fantastic driving from all 4 of these guys, keeping it completely clean. It looks like pretty much most of the grid may have thrown on some medium tires. Yes, medium tires pretty much across the grid except for IUF1 William and Prost, as Prost now moves up into 2nd place or 10th place as he gets a 3-second time penalty for excessive track limits. Super unfortunate moment there for Prost because he's been charging his way up the field. Caution flag, ladies and gentlemen, caution flag at the back of the grid here. Let's jump to the back and see what may be happening. There may have been a little contact here from Mini B-Man and Grumpy Dad that may have thrown up that yellow flag. I'm sure it was probably when they were going through the Casio triangle. But besides the point, let's jump back up to the front here as Prost is now getting hunted quite closely here by Gunner. I do believe those hard tires should be coming into effect right about now. Anybody who has hard tires right now is probably going to be enjoying the benefits here. Major lockup from Mahmudov as he loses control of the car and drifts through turn 11 here. He's left himself susceptible to Mr. Boss here. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm stuttering over my words right now. There's been so much action this race so far. Huge moment as Mr. Boss overshoots Spoon, not anticipating their dirty air coming off the back of the Mercedes car. Rebel now comfortably taking a lead now here. It seems like in combination of the used tires, the dirty air is now really starting to affect these drivers. Good swing here. Unfortunately, Mr. Boss was not really able to take advantage of the situation here and get a pass as Alex Carew once again sets the fastest lap of the session now. Let's see what our overall... oh, that's not what I'm trying to do. All right, guys. You'd think I haven't been doing this all season. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Carew in the Ferrari here is our dominant driver of the session so far. 12 passes as we actually see Despy make a pass on the back here going through GDB. GDB does have soft tires on, as you can see, and he's definitely struggling with the wear and tear right now of those tires as we actually see him swing a little wide there, and GDB is kind of dealing with that effect now. It was an interesting strategy putting on the softs. Unfortunately, it does not look like to have been working out as Papatism now is eyeing the back of this of this Aston Martin. And I believe that Papatism will be able to get a move here done quite soon. Despy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, though, here in the Red Bull, eyeing the back of Money in the McLaren here right now. If Money commits one mistake, I do believe this will be a pretty simple pass, but we're going to have to see. We have seen some great defending from Money. I believe in Brazil we saw some pretty nice moments with him. We're going to have to see if he's able to translate anything into Suzuka. If you're joining me here for the first time, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Division 1 Purple Sector F1 race. We are in Suzuka. This is the sprint race. We will be having the feature race shortly after this. And ladies and gentlemen, No Cap actually goes into the pit lane. And No Cap has retired from the session. Ladies and gentlemen, No Cap has retired from the session. That will be a loss of points for the McLaren team there. Big moment. Super unfortunate as well. I do hope he didn't receive any substantial damage. I am quite curious as to what may have happened there. This is the closest we've seen Reimer to Mr. Boss so far this session. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be seeing Mr. Boss gets a 3-second time penalty going through turn 9 here. Reimer maybe going for an inside maneuver here. Going into turn 11, a fantastic move as he hits the inside side pod of Mr. Boss, losing control of the car and losing a lot of time. I don't believe he makes that up again by the end of the race. Major moment here as he now also has to race his teammate now. Ladies and gentlemen, Reimer's contact with Mr. Boss left him susceptible to his own teammate. Now we've seen some fantastic speed here from Alex Carew. Now he did have clean air that entire time, so I'm not too sure if he knows how to deal with the dirty air being let off by a car in front. We actually see him off throttle going through 130R as he goes out for an outside maneuver here into R30R. Keeping it clean, keeping it on track. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Carew, GOAT 769, moves up into 4th position after a fantastic pass in the Casio triangle. Alex Carew here, a incredible charge through the field here. I believe that makes 13 positions now, ladies and gentlemen. That is 13 positions. As we see a little bit of fighting in the back here, NASCAR Freak and Prosk have collided. I don't see any immediate damage on either of the cars, but Prosk did go off of turn 1 there, going into the gravel, has now brought it back onto track. Unfortunately, that did result in at least 1 position loss there, so thankfully nothing too major from what I can tell. But Prosk now once again falls back into 10th position here. And we have a spin out here, ladies and gentlemen. CF1 Harold here may have lost it into Denger 1. Suscepting himself. We have another spin out here. NASCAR Freak DI. Oh my goodness. Thank God he's ghosted. Oh my gosh. NASCAR Freak, ladies and gentlemen, lost it through Denger 1 here. And seemed to have lost a fair amount of position. Super unfortunate that this is happening here at the end. I'm sure these guys are dealing with a lot of tire degradation right now at the moment. It's probably pretty brutal here. Let's see if Gunner is able to get a move off of CF1 Harold. We have seen some fantastic driving from Gunner here. I believe his highest finishing position this season is position 5. Now this is a sprint race, obviously, so it's a little different. But we actually get a pass around the inside as GDB moves past NASCAR Freak. NASCAR Freak does have left front end plate damage here. He will have the advantage of slipstream as he goes through 130R with the downforce damage and manages to get the move done with a lack of downforce. A fantastic pass by NASCAR here as he goes through the Casio triangle. It does not look like GDB is able to make a move, and he's actually now susceptible to Papatism. We actually see Papatism lose the rear of the cars here a little bit, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be affecting him all too much here. Fantastic driving here as we actually have Grumpy Dad here unfortunately lose the car. And ladies and gentlemen, NASCAR Freak loses control of the car coming out of turn 2, ends up giving up 2 positions here. Papatism now on the back of GDB 0791 here. That Aston Martin is not able to keep up on those soft tires anymore. Those tires are probably about to explode. Some unreal racing here right now as they come up into turn 9, and Papatism was thinking about passing on Denger too. What the? Papatism selling a dummy? I'm not even sure what I'd call that. Into Denger 2, hits the rear of GDB now. He is desperate to get this pass, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Boss, another 3-second time penalty. That is going to be 6 seconds in total. That will be dropping him down to 6th position, I believe. Super unfortunate there for the Haas driver. But it does not look like Papatism is able to get a move done as he almost loses control of the car here. Huge moment. A lot of fighting in the back here. It seems like this will be the finishing order here, ladies and gentlemen. A fantastic sprint race here. Oh my goodness. That had me. Whew. That was a great race. I hope you guys had just as much fun as I did there. Now I do apologize. I do have to get rid of this I cannot get rid of that person. Hold on. No shenanigans in my chat. I do not shop for viewers. I get them naturally. I can't figure out how to get rid of that chat. Uh-oh. Well, that's okay. Fantastic race here, though. As I've previously mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, incredible drive by Alex Carew, GOAT 769 in the Scuderia Ferrari, moving up 13 positions. 13 in a sprint race. You'd think he'd be racing against AI. Fantastic race. Started 17th on the grid, had the fastest lap time here, 129.316 here. We did see a fantastic drive back here from Prosk as well. Started 15th on the grid, managing to move up to 7th position. Unfortunately, did suffer a 3-second time penalty. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. We're gonna be waiting for these guys to load in. I'm gonna make sure I can give mod here to people. Oh my gosh. Hold on. You think I'm an old man with the way I handle technology here right now? Hold on, guys. I used to be I used to commentate another league, and I haven't opened the Twitch URL for that league in a year now, and every time I type in Twitch, it autofills to that league, and it confuses me so much because I haven't commentated for them in forever. I don't know why. Mod you. I'm gonna give you a warning for even bringing that up. I'm kidding. This isn't my Twitch though. I probably should get some mods from you guys, to be honest, but it's fine. I'll let the race director figure that out. I genuinely don't know how to mod you guys on that note though, so I'm hovering your guys' name. The only options it's giving me is ban. Let's see. It's giving me ban, timeout, warn, and then delete the message. We are in Suzuka once again here, ladies and gentlemen, for our qualifying. Ban sounds good. Ban does sound good. I should ban that guy. All right, banned. That was democratic. Somebody brought it up. I agreed. Yeah, that's how it is. But ladies and gentlemen, we are in Suzuka right now in wet conditions. This is going to be pretty interesting to see. We're now watching Mr. Boss, who I believe is the second person out of the grid right now. So we will be jumping to IUF1 William instead here as our first guy out, as we do. Red Bull 1-2 incoming. That's what I like to hear. I'm sad Mac didn't join us here today. I don't think I've seen Mac in a little while. You should get him back on, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who may not know, Carl the Chast, I think that's how you pronounce it, is the Red Bull manager, team principal here. So he is most likely on a call right now with Despy and Papa Tism here, and probably giving them fantastic racing advice right now, as we are currently watching IUF1 William here, coming up into Sector 3 now right now. Let's just enjoy. Definitely not playing 2K. A fantastic team principal. As I've mentioned. Now, cheering the team on. That's more than most, to be honest. So, you could take pride in that. Ladies and gentlemen, here, IUF1 William and the Aston Martin crossing the starting line here a little bit ago, coming up into turn 1. Let's join him on board here. Incredibly strong swing into the first curve here, considering wet conditions here. That will be a disqualification of lap time, unfortunately. Let's jump over to Mr. Boss here, who also overshot the first curve. I'm a little surprised here. Who's near the end of their lap here? That's one of the Red Bulls. Is that Despy? That's not Despy. Who is that? Did I miss him? There's somebody coming up into the first curve right now, and I'm trying to find them. Am I crazy? NASCAR Freak, ladies and gentlemen. NASCAR Freak is the guy I was trying to find. Why is Racing Bulls that color? Casual fan today. Give me your predictions here, Carl. Who do you think is going to be our top 3 finishers here today? We are currently watching NASCAR Freak, who did have a pretty strong performance in sprint. Unfortunately, I think some damage and a little bit of bumping resulted in some front wing damage, which just dropped him down the order, unfortunately. But it does seem to me that NASCAR Freak does have the potentiality to get on podium, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if it's going to be wet the whole race. I'm not too sure if it's going to be wet the whole race. We're going to have to see what happens. Currently watching NASCAR Freak come up onto turn 11. You can tell how reserved the NASCAR is right now, and that's probably going to be most of these drivers right now. You know what, Carl? To answer your question, I'll let you have a dry assumption and a wet assumption if you want to give me 2. Iofan William did not disqualify this. Whoa. His lap did not get disqualified. Iofan Williams sets the pole position for the session here. A 1:44.61 provisional pole position for the session right now. Very interesting. I thought he disqualified. I could have sworn that if you fly off the track, you lose your time. Obviously, I don't know racing. We're now watching NASCAR Freak here. Car coming around turn 18. Sets the 3rd fastest time of the session, a 1:46.162. Let's join here Rebel. Very controlled coming out of Spoon right now. Pretty good exit though. Oh, sorry, misclick. Let's see how he swings through 130R. I'm very curious. You're able to full speed 130R in wet conditions. He did go down a gear to just make sure he doesn't lose too much speed, but very interesting. The downforce hard in these cars are just absolutely insane, man. The fact that you can flat out 130R in wet conditions is crazy to me. A 145.545. Guys, I'm astounded that Iofan William has his 144 right now. I can't get over the fact that he overshot turns 1 and 2. Which would have slowed him down regardless. I'm not even arguing that it should be a disqualified time, but the fact that it was an overshot corner and he managed to bring it back, I can only imagine how crazy his sector 2 and 3 was. Prosk moving up at a 145.189. I assume that the alcohol is flowing through him right now. It's making him one with the track, as we almost see him lose control of the car coming into turn 2 there. Ladies and gentlemen here, let's see who's out on track right now, or who's about to... let's join money here. This is our race director for Purple Sector F1 here. Let's see how this guy does. We did see a pretty, very, oh my gosh. Incredibly strong swing into turn 1. Had to regain control going into turn 2 as he now hits the S's here. There is a little bit of lap traffic as the Haas was pretty much almost on the racing line there. We're seeing Money really pushing the car, really struggling with controlling it right now. It's clear that he wants to set a fast time, and he's going to do whatever he can to get up on the provisional pole here. As he goes through Denger 2, good swing. Using it. Oh, that may have been a time disqualification. No, it is not, ladies and gentlemen. He is still valid. Coming up into turn 11. Some pretty good driving here for Money so far. I believe he set a purple sector 1 if I saw that pop up right. Hitting Spoon now. Good control. Turn 14, such an awkward exit. It's downhill too, as we actually almost see him lose control of the car, to emphasize the point I was trying to make there. Thank you, Money, for that. We're about to see him cross the... He sets a purple sector 2! Ladies and gentlemen, Money is on fast track here to set the fastest time here. Iofan William beats his time by a whole 2 seconds, a 1:42.291 here. A little bit wide Casio triangle turn here from Money, but we're about to see him cross the finish line. Oh, it looks like no. Very unfortunately, Money a 1:46.015. I could have sworn that we saw Money P1 probably. I agree. I do think Money takes P1 here. Super unfortunate though. I could have sworn that it said that he was getting purple sectors, but I guess not. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Iofan William here beats his previous time by a whole 2 seconds. The next closest person on this grid right now is Foko Enna, who's on Red Bull. I thought Foko Enna was a Haas driver. Whoa. That's strange. The next closest person, a 1:45.032. They're not even close to his first quali time here. I'm astounded right now. Also, I'm really confused. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound confused. Ladies and gentlemen, Foko Enna is has been a Haas driver that I'm pretty sure we've all sat down and watched drive. Rebel sets the next fastest time here, a 1:43.742 here. So far, Iofan William dominating the grid when it comes to wet track conditions in Suzuka nonetheless here. As I've mentioned, this track becomes a completely different beast in these wet conditions. We do have a V-Carb here and a Williams racing. The Williams driver will have to be dealing with a little bit of slipstream, all the negatives and all the positives that come with this effect right now. Dirty air. Oh, a little bit of impeding here, as it's clear that the Williams driver is going quite a bit faster. The V-Carb driver moves out of the way there. Good move. Strong swing into 130R. Wet conditions be damned here. Strong braking to the Casio triangle. These wet conditions, ladies and gentlemen, are... Oh, as we see Mini B-Man almost lose the car halfway through the Casio triangle, regaining control. That may have cost him the front of the grid, though, setting a 1:45.301 here, moving up into 6th position. This has been a incredibly interesting qualifying, if you guys were to ask me. We're now joining Mahmudev here in the Mercedes as he finishes Sector 1 here. It said that he got a purple Sector 1 just now. I don't know if I'm not looking at that right then. Mahmudev, though, setting a purple Sector 1 here right now. Going through turn 11, a lot of control here. You can kind of see the dry line starting to form in the remaining 6 minutes that these guys have left. The track is only going to get more dry. These guys are only going to get faster. As Mr. Boss actually, I missed it, set a 1:42.863, setting our second fastest time of the session here. The track is only going to get faster as it gets drier. We're going to have to see how many of these guys try to take advantage of that fact. Now, at the same time, though, if not enough people are on track, it will like re-wetten again, I believe. So there is a sweet spot. There's probably an ideal point right now where this track is driest, and if I had to take a guess, it's right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Mahmudev moves up into 3rd position here at 1:43.477. I really thought he was going to get pole position there. Super unfortunate. Fantastic drive though from Mahmudev throughout what we saw. We now rejoin here NASCAR Freak, who had a very strong first half of the sprint session. We're gonna have to see how he continues to handle the rain. It doesn't look like the rain's gonna be letting up anytime soon. We do see a little bit of sun breaking through the clouds, but unfortunately, I think that means that it's gonna be wet conditions the entire race. Now, again, as I'd mentioned, I do believe the track can re-wetten itself here. So I want to say that right now the track is probably going to be as dry as it gets. I'm seeing a lot of these guys go into the pit lane, which means there's less heat on track here, as we actually have a very late joiner here. MSA Samad in the Kick Sauber. Ladies and gentlemen, MSA Samad is our current driver champion right now. It seems like he almost overslept it. MSA Samad managing to show up at the very last second to join the feature race. There's only 5 minutes in qualifying for MSA Samad, so we're gonna have to see what he does with the little time that he has left right now. Oh my gosh, guys! I thought NASCAR Freak was on his hot lap this whole time. Good heavens! Nonetheless, we get to see. I believe he's one of the few drivers who are currently doing a hot lap. Fantastic T1, T2 there. Incredible amount of control and momentum as he carries all of that speed through there. We did see NASCAR, I believe, lose it entirely previously in the T1, T2 earlier in the qualifying session. So this is a huge change right now. It's clear that he's quite confident in the car. Really pushing it. You can see the car's angle of attack just completely off from where he's pointing his wheels right now. NASCAR Freak is going faster than his previous qualifying time. It doesn't look like he's on a route for pole position here at the moment, but nonetheless, it's been a fantastic drive here. A little late on the gear shift there. Hopefully that doesn't affect his exit too much coming up into or going through turn 12 here. You can see how dry turn 12 is. Even here through Spoon, you can see how dry the track is. Look at all that dryness right there. That's incredible. I wonder, I doubt it. I really doubt F1 does this, but I wonder if F1 just dries the track based off of, I guess I'm curious what they base it off of. I couldn't tell you. I would assume if I was a coder, I would try to base off how dry I have the track become for drivers, just dependent on how many laps have been put in, whether they've been valid or not valid. That'd be how I would dry the track. There's probably some like logarithmic like percent change over time that you could hypothetically dry the track with. I don't know. I don't want to get too nerdy into that, but we do see NASCAR here move up into 5th position. A fantastic drive here, as I was talking about logarithms and stuff. A 143.214. We see him almost losing the car here, still managing to gain control of it. Now, for those of you who are joining, we do race with a few things. Now, we do race with medium traction control minimum. ABS is allowed, and the ideal racing line is only allowed for corners. So we do encourage a lot of our D1 drivers to just find the limits of the car by themselves, push as hard as they can, and see what they're able to make of it. Now, I did miss this, and I do apologize to these two wonderful drivers here. Reimer in the Ferrari sets a 141.945 here, as Mahmudev in the Mercedes set a 142.029, and Rebel, ladies and gentlemen, a 141.317. A fantastic drive from the Alpine driver here. I guess I lied. I guess the track just stays as dry as it always is. Now we do have a few more drivers coming over the line. We do have Ayuf Lillian, who was previously our dominant provisional pole sitter. We're going to have to see if we can get a response here. As Foko Enna, ladies and gentlemen, Foko Enna in the V-Carb moves up a 141.489. I'm sure he's incredibly angry with himself that he wasn't able to do it in a Haas car, but nonetheless a fantastic drive from Foko Enna here. We're really seeing Ayuf and William pushing through these curbs right now, almost losing the rear on turns 4 and 5 there as he goes through turn 7 here. Ladies and gentlemen, Ayuf and William is almost a whole second faster than his previous time. I believe we may be seeing the provisional pole sitter here in a moment. Strong braking into turn 11. The track is almost completely dry in that portion of the track. You can really rely on the mechanical grip of these tires instead of being worried that you're going to slide through some slosh. Going through turn 12 here. Coming up on Spoon now. Strong swing through Spoon. MSA Samad, ladies and gentlemen, joins the session and immediately sets a 141.111. Fantastic drive here from our provisional driver champion. IUF1 William, though, will be looking for a response here. Very strong swing through 130R. Strong braking into the Casio triangle, maybe a little too early even. I don't believe he knew where the braking point was due to how dry that portion of the track has become. Seeing him sliding through turn 18 as he crosses the finish line, a 140.511. Ladies and gentlemen, IUF1 William in the Aston Martin here. Aston Martin, a Ramco Formula One team, setting a 140 in wet conditions. We're going to have to see how a wet race is going to change the outcome. We do have Reimer currently, already almost a second faster as well from his previous time. Reimer currently may be a major contender for provisional pole right now as well. I'm sure Rebel is undoubtedly gunning for it right now. It looks like these guys are actually behind each other. On track at least, obviously. With how close Reimer's driving, I can only assume these guys are going to be starting next to each other on the grid. Good control there coming out of turn 14. We see a little bit of sliding as we jump over to Reimer's perspective. They're coming up on the 130R turn right now. Let's see how Rebel swings into it. Pretty casual, nothing crazy. Reimer seemed to be carrying much more speed as he goes into 130R. Coming up on the Casio triangle now, it doesn't seem like any of these drivers know the exact braking point based off the fact that they're doing micro corrections as they're going through turn 16. Reimer almost losing control of the car. We get a little glitch there as Reimer moves up into a 140.690, beating Rebel, who set a 140.924. Ladies and gentlemen, the start of the front half of this grid right now, all under 140 right now. I missed it, money. I missed it. You just gotta apply. You just gotta apply what you were gonna hypothetically do into the race the entire time instead. Pretty easy, I think, if you were to ask me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining me here for the first time, my name is Wild Hero. I am your commentator here for the Purple Sector F1 Racing League. And hold on to your seats, don't leave quite yet, because I believe we're going to be having an absolutely fantastic wet race through the circuit of Suzuka. Now, I don't think I had actually mentioned it while I was going through my track facts, but Suzuka is the only F1 track right now that does a figure 8. Interlagos used to also do a figure 8 before they changed the track in 19 something. I don't have the stat off the top of my head. I'm a bad commentator. But absolutely fantastic qualifying session in the rain nonetheless. The top 6 drivers are all within a second of the pole sitter right now. And other than that, we have a pretty nice let's see, what can I move? What can I move down? There we go. Oh. Okay. We have a pretty split up grid here right now. Our slowest driver is 6 seconds behind the pole sitter. Nonetheless, we're gonna have to see what happens in the race. Obviously, turns 1 and 2, as well as the S's, are gonna be absolutely massive moments in the race. I think Suzuka right now in the wet, T1 may be everything. T1 may be a win or lose if you're not in the lead or if you're not in front of another car. Overtaking in these wet conditions is going to be incredibly difficult. So I highly encourage any drivers who are currently watching the stream to just go for it. If you're no longer a racing driver if you don't go for gaps anymore. And I think gaining as many positions as you can is just going to be the way to win on Suzuka here. Obviously for IUF1 William, it's going to be keeping his position and ideally running away with it. I anticipate we're only going to have one pit stop here today. We'll have to see how the dry conditions of Suzuka affect the tire wear on these intermediate tires. I don't believe we're going to be going into full wet conditions, but nonetheless, it's very clear that Suzuka is going to be raining the entire time. And I think that's just going to be a fantastic race. If you're joining me here for the first time, drop a hi in the chat. If you've been here for forever and haven't said anything, say something anyway. I love talking with you guys. I'm quite excited here to see what happens today. Drink a little water so I can liven my throat up a little bit. Ugh. Bronchitis does not treat commentating well. I'll tell you guys that much. I feel like I go into coughing fits so easily. I do apologize to the viewers. I'm going to be muting myself. I need the cough. Oof. Yeah, bronchitis sucks. I caught like a cold at the start of the year, and it really flared me up badly, man. Really going through it. It sucks when I'm sim racing too, because I'll get a coughing fit when I'm sim racing, but I'm not gonna stop racing, so I'm just like all puffed up and like teary eyed, trying to like race through the coughing, man. It's brutal. I mean, it's kind of fun in a weird way, but I also hate it because, you know, I'm trying to win. Now, I will say, while we're waiting here, I recently started playing Le Mans Ultimate. A lot of fun. I had a fantastic race. Unfortunately, I suck. I'm not used to the driving of the GT3 cars, much less LMU. I have played ACC. Very different driving, if you were to ask me. I'm a Ford main. I'm a Ford Mustang main in ACC. I obviously I'm going to be a Ford main in LMU. Carl, you should definitely get it. I've been enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. I have some gripes with it. I'm not going to lie. I do have gripes with it. If you want my honest opinion, yes, it is good. We are going to be having a formation lap here, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to answer your question. Is LMU good? Yes, it is. Are there problems with LMU? I think so. I think it's very sluggish. I think LMU drives very sluggishly. But compared to ACC, I feel like ACC cars have so much speed. I feel like I'm like trying to like wrangle the car. In slow corners especially is my problem. Because the Ford Mustang sucks. It's not an aerodynamic car in any capacity. But I apologize. I'm going to hold on. Before I continue answering LMU, we're watching IUF1 William fall back right now. I don't know if that's a strategy. I don't know if he's letting the AI drive for him right now. But let me go through the starting grid here for you guys. IUF1 William with a surprise pole position here in the Aston Martin, followed by Reimer in the Ferrari, Rebel in the Alpine here. All three of these guys, the top three, set 140s. MSA Samad, our current provisional drivers champion, joined us a little late today, is in the Kickmobile right now. Followed by Mr. Boss in the Haas, Focoena in the V-Carb, who is a Haas driver. I have to assume he joined us late as well, unfortunately. So we're going to have to see what happens. He did have a fantastic lap. He's on pace with the top 5 guys right now. Prosk here in the Williams, we did see a good sprint from him. Started 15th, finished excuse me, started 15th, finished 7th, I believe. So he has the capability to work his way up the field here. Despy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the Red Bull here. Mahmudev 9th place. We did see him retire a little early from qualifying, and I think it kind of bit him in the butt a little bit, as he now will be starting again in 9th and will have to work his way up the field. And when the guys on the front are as fast as they are, it's kind of hard to catch up when you're a little behind. But Gunnar here in the Alpine. We have seen Gunnar in the McLaren. He is a reserve driver. Today he is in the Alpine, though, for the first time. Grumpy Dad in the Mercedes 11th position. A great qualifying from Grumpy. NASCAR Freak in the V-Carb here. We did see some great driving from him in the sprint. We're going to have to see if he's able to translate this into the race. Money in the McLaren here. Who did type in the chat that he messed up his best lap super badly. So we're going to have to see if he's able to just do the best lap constantly throughout the race as we see him overshoot the grid box. Mini B-Man in the Williams, Papatism in the Red Bull, CF1 Herald in the Haas, GDB 0791 in the Aston Martin, rounded off by Alex and NoCap in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, the lights are coming up. Hold on to your seats right now as we take off here. Fantastic start from Rebels. He's going up around the outside of Reimer. Oh my goodness, a little bit of contact from what I can tell. MSA Samad not really in the mix of a fight right now. Focoena managing to keep a position. Mahmudev manages to move up into 6th position past Mr. Boss. Prosk lost a position as well, actually. We have Alex Corot, who instantly retired from the session. Super unfortunate after the fantastic sprint race we saw him do. And we see Prosk try to go for an inside into Dinger 1 on Mr. Boss. Is not able to get the move to stick. Still decides to go side by side. Backs out. Coming up into Dinger 2. Ladies and gentlemen, NASCAR Freak getting a move done. Mini B-Man, it looks like NASCAR Freak is actually ghosted out right now. NASCAR Freak will not have to worry about any damage. GDB ghosted out right now. Money has a few ghost cars in front of him. If I were him, I'd take a little dive or two. Let's jump up to the front here as we now watch Mini B-Man fly past NASCAR Freak, who had a bad exit coming out of turn 11 here, moving up in the 11th position. Now watching Despy going through Spoon. Mr. Boss took a very wide angle through Spoon. If Prosk sets himself up properly here, this could be a huge overtaking opportunity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will throw on some telemetry data, and I will be throwing on the track map as well. Oh, that's already on. Excuse me. I do believe the entire grid has intermediates on right now. I will check for your guys' detail. Yes, intermediates here. Mini B-Man has gained 3 positions, tied with No Cap and Mahmudev for the most positions done here so far. IUF1 William here, comfortably in the lead right now. Not comfortably, excuse me. As we actually see Reimer shoot off turn 1 here, letting Rebel through. MSA Samad will probably be able to take advantage of the situation. And Focoena actually gets a pass on MSA Samad and moving up into 4th position. I'm a little bummed that we missed that. I see NASCAR Racing 9 here joining us in the chat. Crashed, and unfortunately that is why he's ghosted. Very fair, NASCAR. Super unfortunate though. I was quite excited to see your performance considering your first half of the sprint race, but nonetheless we'll have next week in Qatar for you to show off. We're watching MSA Samad here, really struggling with control of the car right now. I'm sure he wants to get a pass here on Focoena. I think he was debating for an inside dive there. Would have been a little aggressive here as we see No Cap and GDB in the back here. It seems like No Cap is still ghosted out at the moment. I have to assume No Cap is no longer racing as well then. If NASCAR is ghosted and he's not in the session, then I assume No Cap is also not in the session at this point. I saw him leave. I just thought he rejoined. We do see Prosk overshoot turn 14 a little bit there. I will be getting rid of our position change data here right now just so we have a little more view. Excuse me, guys. It seems to me that MSA Samad may have a slightly brisker pace than Focoena if he's able to control the car. Rebel sets the fastest time, a 140.839 here, as he's starting to rapidly close the gap on IUF1 William here. Reimer goes for another very aggressive dive into T1, T2 here. Manages to keep control of the car, does not lose it. And we actually see MSA Samad with a little bit of grass there as NASCAR Freak's Ghost and Grumpy Dad are duking it out here. Grumpy Dad able to get the move done as he moves up into 12th position. Money moves up into 15th. I could have sworn he was 18th. I missed the pass on that Money had here as Money now moves his way up the field. I'm sure it was a fantastic maneuver. I see Rebels quite close to the back of the Aston Martin. I keep thinking there's going to be a move here. Unfortunately, not quite happening. Now, it's quite risky to go for a turn 11 hairpin dive here offline just due to the fact that there's no dry line to follow there. Money sniffing the back of CF1 Harold here. Moving very slowly, moving his way up the field. Very, very methodical drive here. I can anticipate from Money this race. It seems like we're starting to have some of our drivers split up here a little bit. I think our wet drivers are gonna really start dominating the session here. MSA Samad here has managed to stay within about 0.7 of a second to Focoena this entire time. It's really going to be a battle of who makes the first mistake here. Mudev and Prosk and Mr. Boss are now all involved in this little train now as well. It seems that IUF1 William and Rebel have taken a comfortable gap to the rest of the lead here. Reimer's mistake through T1, T2 cost him quite a bit of time there, as he's now 2 2/10 behind the lead cars. Focoena, though, has also started to really bring it in. Real Reimer in here right now. I have zero doubt in my mind Focoena is probably super upset that he's not able to do this in a Haas car, but this is going to be a fantastic podium if he's able to get the pass done. Now, passing in these wet conditions, as I've previously mentioned, is going to be a huge risk. Not only is it going to be a huge risk, it's a huge time loss. So if Focoena goes for a dive on Reimer, he has to keep in mind that there are 4 cars behind him that can take advantage of the situation just due to the loss of time. So a lot of pressure right now on Focoena. As we see a little bit of fighting happening in the back here. Papatism falls into 18th position now, unfortunately, as Money seems to have unfortunately lost a little bit of time to CF1 Harold in front of him. No Cap here is going wheel to wheel. Are these both ghosts? I can't tell if these guys are both ghosts. I have to assume they're both ghosts. They've been inside each other the whole time. This entire race, they've been literally the exact same driver. So I'm assuming the last 2 drivers are unfortunately ghosts there. We have IUF1 Williams setting another fast lap, as Rebel has actually fallen a second and a half behind him now. Rebel may have had a moment, it seems like, possibly coming out of the Casio Triangle. Mahmudev getting a move done on MSA Samad as he moves up through the field. It seems to me that MSA Samad most likely committed a little error going through turn 1, turn 2. Let's see. Very methodical drive from a lot of these guys right now. I highly sympathize with them. I feel like this is how I need to drive in GT3, just because there's no assists. And we have a spin out, it seems like, as Papatism DNFs in the back. I'm not seeing any safety cars come up right now, or yellow flags even. Papatism is still moving. I see his car still moving on the grid right now. I think he may have crashed out, and the AI just may be taking control. Crashed out as in lost control of the car, not crashed out as in got angry, just to make the clarification. Seems like he lost control of the car and simply decided to retire from the session. We are currently watching MSA Samad right now. This train is, I think, just a ticking time bomb at the moment, to be quite frank with you guys. I think all it takes is one of these drivers to try to make a move, and that's just going to completely dictate how the rest of the guys behind or in front react. Obviously, if you're in front, your reaction is, let me get out of here. They're going to slam into each other. And then the guys behind are just going to have to cut a chicane or two to avoid a little damage. But it seems like Focoena has been doing a fantastic job keeping this train of drivers behind him. The track is incredibly dry right now, very, very light rain. There hasn't really been a buildup of rain, honestly, throughout this race in any capacity. So I'm very curious if somebody might try to do dries, actually. We are watching Focoena slip a little. We have seen some of these drivers slip a little, so I don't think there's going to be dry conditions for quite some time, but I could totally see the end of the race. A strategy call or two may give somebody the just absolute dominant advantage with dries. We are watching Focoena, I think, close the gap a little bit to Reimer, from what I could tell. Money does a pass on CF1 Harold in the back here. Fantastic pass. I have zero clue where that pass could have even happened, honestly. I think that may have been Denger 1 going through turn 7. Very, very ballsy passing attempt there, if so, from Money. And fantastic racecraft that he was able to get it done. Yeah, passing through Denger 7 on dry conditions is already a very, very difficult thing to perform. I can only imagine how it is on wet conditions. Obviously, we're unsure if CF1 Harold may have committed a mistake, but nonetheless, being able to take advantage of your opponent's mistakes is simply part of racing as well. We are watching Mudev here reel in Focoena. We may be going... Focoena actually takes a defensive line there a little bit. He shuffles to the inside just a tad to just block any possible chance for Mudev to go into the inside. Very good small defensive maneuver, to be quite frank with you. He is now quite aggressively going through the S's. It's clear to me that Mudev has a lot more confidence and control in the car right now at the moment, at least. We're going to have to see how Focoena responds. Obviously, it's clear that he's quite a good defensive driver, to be quite frank. In previous races, we have seen him race very, very cleanly. Fantastic racecraft, fantastic defensive racecraft, if I may add. As Mr. Prosk and Mr. Prosk, I combine the names. Mr. Boss and Prosk here are fighting right now in the rear of this little train right now. We're going to have to see if Prosk is able to get the position back, or maybe the alcohol is starting to take its effect. We are seeing Focoena really push the car right now, struggling a lot through these turns. You can really tell from Mudev's perspective just how hard Focoena is just pushing this car right now. I keep thinking we're going to be seeing like a crazy dive or something. Ladies and gentlemen, we join Reimer right as he almost loses the car coming out of turn 17 here. He was quite close to the back of Rebel, and unfortunately just wasn't able to keep control of the car. And unfortunately is now a second behind what could have been a possible pass attempt here. He closed that really fast. That was almost 2/10 and he closed that. No, let's back up to a second. Okay, let's back up to a second and a 10th. Okay, sorry about that. I thought Rebel let the AI start driving for a second or something. I was a little confused. This train of drivers right now, I'm sure is just waiting for one of them to commit a mistake, as we actually see Mahmudev lose control of the car coming out of Dinger 1. A little bit of contact between him and MSA Samad, and Mahmudev slams into the wall coming up into Dinger 2. Super, super unfortunate moment. I don't see any clear damage on Mudev's vehicle, which is fantastic news, but a major, major moment in this race so far. Very, very risky pass there from MSA Samad. Unfortunately, it did result in a little bit of contact. We're gonna have to see what the stewards have to say about that. And unfortunately, due to where that contact happened, nobody was really able to take major advantage of it. Prosk, that's a lie actually. Prosk was able to move up 2 positions from it, past Mr. Boss, through Mudev. Obviously, MSA Samad was able to get past Mudev. Is now looking at the back of Focoena right now. I'm sure Focoena is quite happy to see the little train behind him kind of dissipate a little bit. Now he really only has to worry about one driver right now. I think so far, I would have to take a guess that Focoena has been our most stressed driver this race. He now has to deal with the driver champion behind him, who now has closed the gap to a second. We're now watching Mahmudev here, who is going into the pit lanes. Mahmudev may have, in fact, have received wing damage here. Let's see if he gets a new wing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mahmudev did receive wing damage from his contact with MSA Samad there. And we're going to have to see if this is a one-stop show here for Mahmudev. I don't believe it's really doable on this track right now, even in the wet conditions. But if there's anybody that could do it, I think Mudev would be the guy. If there's any comments that you guys may have so far, do drop something in the chat. There's been a little bit of a lack of action, I want to say, excluding MSA Samad and Mudev's fight there. So I'm going to go back to our wonderful conversation, Carl. The cars feel sluggish, if you were to ask me. Not bad, but sluggish. For example, when I take Eau Rouge and ACC, I feel like I have to really wrangle it, which makes it feel fun. You know, it makes it feel fast. But in LMU, the 4 just doesn't have that same feeling. Not that the force feedback feels bad. I had to tweak it a little bit just because it is a different game. I had to mess with some wheel settings and in-game settings. I haven't gotten to try LMP cars or LMP2 cars or GTP cars or hypercars. I'm quite excited. It's a licensed system actually, so you have to like work your way up to the LMP2 and hypercars, which is kind of cool. But I've enjoyed it. I had a really good race before this stream. I started second. I started second with a 14.2 on the Bahrain circuit. Different circuit from the one that you guys know. It's like a I don't know, endurance Bahrain circuit. And very fun. I had a very fun race. Very fun. I do think that the racing is much cleaner than almost any other game I've played, even F1. Actually, that's a poor standard. Public lobbies F1 are abysmal. Really clean. I want to say the cleanliness on average is about what a F1 league race cleanliness feels like. You'll have your moments, obviously. It's not avoidable. But it's a fun game. I'm sorry. I'm rambling a lot. I have to fill in the gap while we're waiting for something to happen. Final answer, I recommend it. I think it's fun. But if you're used to ACC or iRacing, it's going to be obviously a bit of a change. I'm not even going to compare it to F1. It's two completely different motorsports. We're now watching, I'm going to say Samad actually going to the pit lane here. He's going to be possibly, well, not possibly. He's our second pit lane individual here. We're going to have to see where he comes out in relation to Mahmudev as well, considering the effect he had on Mudev's race here. Mudev is currently in 15th position right now. Mudev is actually about to pretty much come up right behind. Oh no, excuse me. I confused Mudev and Grumpy Dad. Mudev sets the fastest time, a 1:39.890, faster than any of our qualifying times actually. Mudev has set a faster time than our qualifying times. It seems like Mudev is really, really hustling to get back into position here. Let's join Mudev here. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of action as he's going around the outside of CF1 Herald through turn 3. Fantastic maneuver there for Mudev. Mudev is now 2 seconds behind here, of 2.5 seconds behind Money here. We're going to have to see how he's able to bring it. Very interesting slide through turn 8 right there. I feel like he threw his rear out first before the car actually like pointed toward it. That was kind of cool. I'm gonna say Samad now moving up through the field as well, passing Mini B-Man here. Seems like we're gonna be having some hustle here. I'm gonna say Samad does have the advantage of the 10 seconds additional time that it took for Mudev's wheels or wing to be put on. But it's clear that Mudev is a man on a mission right now. We do have our top three lead cars pitting right now, and Reimer, Prosk, and Mr. Boss move up to be our top 3 now. Instead, we're gonna have to see what the strategy call is here now. I'm very curious, honestly. I feel like wet races really offer very unique opportunities in terms of strategy, more so than just dry conditions. Focoena dropping down into 10th position here. I'm very curious if he maybe threw on some wings possibly. I don't want to watch the wing. Okay, that's fine. We're now watching Mudev here approaching the back of Money here. Mudev is going to want to... Mr. Boss and Prosk here fighting. It seems like a move was done into turn 9 here. They're going through turn 11 now. Prosk did try to stick a nose into turn 11. Doesn't seem like he was able to do much there. As Rebel also gets a move done into turn 11. And Mudev now passed Money as well. Before turn 9, actually. Money is making his way through the field here very, very aggressively. Oh, big moment here from Mini B-Man. It seems like he is now missing his left front end plate here. As NASCAR Freak tries to go... Oh, I forgot that NASCAR Freak's a ghost. That's so sad. Oh, man. Oh. Grumpy Dad, though, did try to take advantage of the situation, quite unfortunately. 10-second penalty. Mr. Boss got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That may be taking him out completely of podium contention there. Super unfortunate moment there for Mr. Boss. MSA Samad setting the fastest time of the session, a 139.553 now, beating out Mahmudev's time by, I believe, 0.4 of a second here, as we're now watching Grumpy Dad go inside. Mahmudev had to do a maneuver. Grumpy Dad also gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. These guys are struggling on the brakes right now as they go into the pits. I am currently just going to keep my eyes on Mudev right now. It seems to me that he's obviously charging through the field. We're going to be having a lot of action here. I keep forgetting that No Cap is... a ghost. We're gonna have to see how Mudev responds to MSA Samad here when they get back to together here. Is my quality on my stream really like that? I really hope not. Seems like Mudev is struggling a little more to bring in Prosk. Prosk is a seasoned driver here. So I have zero doubt he's probably not going to make it super easy for him. Honestly, I'm very curious if Mudev is just going to rely on the fact that Prosk possibly... I think Prosk actually already pitted. I do apologize. Let's throw on some details here, ladies and gentlemen. Prosk has, in fact, already pitted. Reimer's the only one who hasn't pitted, and as I say that, he goes straight into the pit lanes here. IUF1 William will be retaking the lead of the race here. I believe Reimer will be appearing... somewhere between MSA Samad and Mr. Boss, as IUF1 William sets a 138.586 now, responding to the two previous fast laps. It's clear that IUF1 William is sniffing the podium, and he's going to do everything he can to make sure he keeps it. Good quality. Thank you, Carl, for that. I don't know why, but maybe the pixel count on my... I have it pulled up to my right here just to make sure that it all looks pretty. But it seems like it went down a little bit on my side. Doesn't really matter. I've noticed that Mudev has not been able to reel in Prosk here, unfortunately. Prosk has managed to keep Mudev away between about a second to 0.8 of a second. I'm sure as Prosk fires up those fresher intermediate tires as well, he's probably going to start pulling away a little more aggressively. As we actually have Prosk, who overshot Danger 1 here. It's going to be giving Mudev an opportunity to possibly pass into turn 9 or turn 11. If Mudev sets himself up properly here, this should be a pretty easy... Oh, no. Mudev is too far back to really make a move here, unfortunately. Despite the turn 7 mess up that Prosk had, we do see Prosk slide the rear there a little bit coming out of turn 11. It's really just going to be a battle of who keeps it as clean as possible. We do have Mudev touching the grass just a tad here, and pretty much the entire grid except two of our ghost cars have stopped now. We have No Cap with the most position changes here. 8 position changes. Fantastic job by the ghost. If it's not a ghost, No Cap, I do apologize. I think you did leave. I'm pretty sure No Cap left. But we do have Mahmudev here, who looked for the inside of turn 16, sold Prosk a dummy. Mudev cuts the corner of turn 17 and gets a 3-second time penalty. Super unfortunate there for Mudev, who's been having an absolute recovery lap so far. It seems to me that Mudev is still going to be gunning for that pass. Let's see how Prosk decides to defend this. The fact that DRS is no longer available on the long straight here of Suzuka will definitely make it easier for Prosk to defend. The fresher tires undoubtedly as well will provide him a major advantage. But it seems to me that Mudev, at least so far this race, has felt more comfortable in the wet conditions. Grumpy Dad sniffing the back of money here. Grumpy Dad did get a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately. So I'm not too sure how that's going to be helping the finishing order here. But nonetheless, it's been a fantastic race from Grumpy Dad from what I've seen so far. A good qualifying start. and currently sitting 13th position and chasing down our director of motorsport here right now. We do have a Williams car up ahead. Mini B-Man seemed to have lost control of the car, which has allowed Money to reel him in. And if Money gets a pass on the Williams car here, he may be able to put a car between himself and Grumpy Dad. We are watching Money try to really push the car right now to close that gap right. I don't know if I like the chrome on the McLarens. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Actually, I take it back. It does look kind of nice. I kind of wish they had that in their GT3 cars. Money, very interestingly, not using the slipstream from Mini B-Man right now. I think he was setting himself up defensively for Grumpy Dad, as Mini B-Man and Grumpy Dad overshoot 130R. And that will give Money a 2nd and a 10th separation between himself and Grumpy. And now he can just fully focus his efforts on Mini B-Man. Both of these drivers currently using a lot of battery to try to keep their relevant positions. Or will, I guess, Money try to move up a position instead. It seems to me that Money feels much more comfortable at the moment. And Prosk gains a 3-second time penalty for excessive track limits. Super unfortunate. The top 5 drivers, though, at the moment do not have any penalties. Any one penalty actually wouldn't really affect too many of these guys. Ayufun William could gain a 3-second penalty and keep his position. Rebel as well would be able to keep his position, but MSA Samad, if he gains a 3-second penalty, would be giving Foco Enna a free podium. Unfortunately, it seems that Grumpy Dad has fallen about 2 seconds behind Money now, and is not super quickly closing the gap. Seems to me that seems to me both of these drivers are relying a lot right now on saving battery. If Money gets a fantastic exit here out of turn 14, he will be able to get a pass up into the Casio Triangle using a lot of battery right now. We're not relying on the slipstream being offered by the Williams car in front of him. As Mini B-Man, I think, they had to let off the throttle just a tad there to make sure he didn't lose the car. As Mahmudev goes back into the pit lane here for a new set of intermediate tires. We're going to have to see how many positions Mudev loses. Actually, he will be coming out ahead of the 2 cars we're watching right now, but nonetheless, Mudev will have quite a fight all the way up the rest of the field. Mudev is 11 seconds behind the next closest car. Fantastic driving here for Money and Mini B-Man, as Mini B-Man actually gives up the position to Money, and Money gains the place, moving up into 11th position. Fantastic fighting from both of these drivers. Sometimes it's a mental game. Sometimes it's just sitting near the guy and scaring him. I've definitely gotten a few positions like that myself throughout multiple racing games, and it's a strategy. But great driving. I'm excited to see Money here. He could possibly catch Mudev, I think. It seemed to me that he was quite confident in the car so far. Not a lot of these guys have been super confident in the car on the wet right now. Ooh, Mr. Boss, very close to the edge of the track limits there, as he's pushing as hard as possible to try to close the gap here on Reimer. Mr. Boss, unfortunately, now falling about a second behind Reimer here. We're going to have to see how he manages going through the S's. And not very well so far. Losing about 2-3 tenths of a second now, as we're now hitting turn 6 here. Despy managing to get a move on Gunner. Unfortunately, I missed this. And they're now racing side by side as they go up through the S's. Gunner trying to get the position back right now. Despy, a fantastic move, I have to assume, going into turn 1 and 2. I know Gunner's going to be wanting those positions back. Let's look at the tire life here for all of our drivers. CF1 Harold, our next retirement of the session. Fantastic drive from what we did see a little bit with CF1 Harold, and A little unfortunate for the Haas team, who will be missing out on some points. Gunner sniffing the back of the Red Bull right now. I am not too sure if he's going to be able to get the move done to retake the position here. In fact, I'm a little concerned to see that Gunner's gas gauge shows yellow right now. Yeah, I don't like that. Is Gunner the only one with a yellow gas gauge? Rebel has a yellow gas gauge. Okay. I'm interested now. Ladies and gentlemen, Rebel and Gunner here may be at risk of not finishing the race. I have to assume that Rebel maybe had a strategy in mind, considering that they're on the same team. They're most likely in conversation. I find it interesting that both of the Alpine cars have low gas right now. But let's see what occurs at the end of the race. There's still quite a few laps to go here. 9 laps to go in total. So nothing short. They got a sprint race to finish here. We joined Prosk here as he almost loses the car coming up Dinger 2 or 1, almost losing it again coming up to Dinger 2, drifting his car through Dinger 2 even. Making his way up slowly. Excuse me, I just heard a noise from my house. The cops. I'm getting raided. No, I'm kidding. I will be closing our little detailing here now, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed. We do have 3 cars with speeding pit lane penalties, as well as 3 cars with excessive track limit penalties. All the cars have made one stop at this point, except for Mudev, who we all did see go into the pit lane. He has managed to bring down the distance between himself and Gunner by almost 5 seconds here, as Mini B-Man seems to have lost control of his vehicle here and has fallen down to 15th position. MSA Samad, a 10-second penalty in the pit lane. This is a huge moment in the race right now that will possibly be taking him out completely of podium contention. IUF1 William here, our race leader, deciding to go into the pits and get a fresh pair of tires. That will be setting him quite a fair bit back here, unfortunately. We're going to have to see how IUF1 William recovers through the field here. There's quite a fair bit of strong drivers between him and first place. This kind of puts Rebel in a position now where obviously he can't pit. He's running low on gas. He may have to Lyco or lower. I don't think you can lower your engine mapping in F1, but nonetheless, he'll have to Lyco at least. Mr. Boss here has been some quite close to the rear of Reimer. Mini B-Man has left our session here. He's going to be our 4th retiree. Or actually, no, at this point, he's our 6th retiree for the session. Very unfortunate. He was doing very, very good. I wish I got to see what happened that caused the retirement. I didn't see any relevant damage on his vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, IUF1 William, our dominant driver of the session here, eyeing the back of Prosk right now. He does have fresh intermediate tires at the moment here and does not have to worry about MSA Samad, who has a 10-second penalty on top of the fact that fantastic dive here from IUF1 William. Oh, as Prosk loses the car a little bit. I couldn't tell if that was a contact-based loss or if he tried pushing a little too hard coming out of the corner. A huge moment there that leads to IUF1 William gaining a position and moving up into 5th. I don't see any immediate damage on either of the vehicles here, so I'm glad to see that nothing occurred there. Very, very deep, aggressive maneuver from IUF1 William into turn 16, which ultimately resulted in a position gain. Now, IUF1 William will have to hope that the dive was not overly aggressive. Stewards are involved in this league as well, and they do provide penalties post-race if a driver wishes to make the argument. We're now watching IUF1 William make his way up. There are only 7 laps left now, guys. As he now sits the purple sector, though, There are 7 laps left. The rest of the field ahead of him are on older intermediate tires, but it is a 5-second gap between him and Mr. Boss, and the remaining cars ahead of him are all very good drivers. Very, very good drivers. Mr. Boss, Reimer, Focoena, and Rebel have proven themselves throughout this season 13 here at PSF1 to be fantastic drivers. Some of them gearing on being more defensively driven drivers as well. So it's not going to be an easy fight for IUF1 William, who also, I've noticed, is now yellow on gas as well. I could have sworn that Rebel was yellow on gas, and now he's no longer yellow on gas. So I'm a little confused. Reimer completely running out of battery as he's trying to catch the rear end of this V-carb right now. We've had a very, very interesting race so far. MSA Samad setting the fastest lap, a 1:38.556, as he's now coming up to the rear of Prosk here. Now, IUF1 William did his best to make sure he got past Prosk as quickly as possible. We're going to have to see how MSA Samad deals with Prosk as well. And Reimer now sniffing the back of Focoena. This is going to be a fight for second position. It seems to me that Reimer feels much more comfortable on these old, used intermediate tires, as we see Focoena almost lose the car coming out of Denver 2. A little bit of lag there. As Reimer goes for an inside dive coming up to turn 11, losing the rear, actually swinging around. That might have helped Reimer. Reimer swinging in the rear of his car. I don't think that was on purpose, obviously. But the rear of his car swung out going into turn 11, which actually gave him a fantastic setup and exit to turn 11 going into turn 12. Reimer, ladies and gentlemen, is now our second place holder at the moment here, as Focoena now has to deal with Mr. Boss as well. Now, admittedly, if I was Focoena here, if I didn't feel comfortable trying to overtake Reimer, I would simply let Mr. Boss pass me. Mr. Boss does have a 10-second penalty at the moment. And it may be possible that Mr. Boss is able to get in a fight with Reimer and slow Reimer down as well, which could ultimately help him. Now, unfortunately, at the same time, IUF1 William is very quickly making an approach from behind both of these drivers that we're watching, and Mr. Boss goes for an inside maneuver coming up into turn 1. It doesn't seem to me that Focoena is going to be able to defend that. And no, Mr. Boss does move up into third position. Focoena falling into fourth. That may have been on purpose. I did see him hesitate on the gear shift between seventh gear and 8th gear. And he may just be relying on the 10-second penalty for a easy podium, which is a valid strategy if you were to ask me. Grumpy Dad, a 3-second time penalty for excessive track limits. Very unfortunate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are watching MSA Samad, who did decide to pit as well in reaction to IUF1 Williams pitting. Unfortunately for MSA Samad, he did gain a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and I think he changed his front wing as well. He came out 7 seconds behind IUF1 William. I don't think he was 7 seconds behind IUF1 William originally, but nonetheless, a 10-second time penalty will be quite brutal, and he's going to want to make sure he makes up that time difference as much as possible here. It seems that Mahmudev now as well is quite close to the rear of Despy now, as Focoena seems to have lost the car. Ladies and gentlemen, Focoena lost the car into turn 12. Oh no. I'm trying to see if Focoena has any damage. Based off of how he's driving, I'm stuck on this camera mode. Based off how Focoena is driving, he has severe damage. Oh my god, his rear right tire popped! Focoena's rear right tire has popped. I can only imagine how the tires of all the other individuals who haven't pitted yet must be. As Money now drops down the order as well. A super unfortunate moment here. What is happening right now? Ladies and gentlemen, MSA Samad very easily moving past Prosk. Prosk, who gave up the position here. Focoena, who had a fantastic race, unfortunately ruined here by a tire pop. Mahmudev here will be gaining a position from that and is still hunting Despy right now. MSA Samad now is 7 seconds behind IUF1 William. Unfortunately, MSA Samad, on top of the 10-second penalty, may not be able to bring in the podium that he very much most likely wanted. as Iof William only has 4 more laps to go to try to reel in 3 entire cars. Now, as we did see, Focoena was one of the few lead drivers to only do a 1 stop, and that very clearly resulted in a tire pop there. I can only assume that Rebel, Reimer, and Mr. Boss are dealing with much of the same problems right now. Oh, Mudev sniffing the back of this Red Bull right now, trying to go for an outside pass in the turn 12, setting himself up for an over-under as Despy sets the car in the middle of the track here, defending very nicely, if you were to ask me. And Mudev backs off and almost loses control of the car. Oh, going through Spoon. Unfortunately, that was a huge moment, and we will not be seeing much more action there for a second from Mudev, as he now needs to re-close the gap here a little bit. We're now watching IUF William here, who can't afford to stay behind Mr. Boss, as we actually see IUF William overshoot T1 here, losing control of the rears a little bit going through T2. I'm a little surprised considering how fresh those tires are right now at the moment. We do now have Mudev, who instantly closed the gap here, coming through turn 18. Using quite a bit of battery. Unfortunately, Mudev has no battery left to give now at this moment. Neither of these drivers have any battery left to give now at the moment. And it's just going to be a battle of who's late on the brake. Fantastic amount of action here, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the race here. Iof William going for an inside dive, coming up into turn 11. Mr. Boss not really able to do anything. He tried to set himself up for a switchback there. Unfortunately, it did not work, as Money now goes into the pits as well. Huge moment here so far. There are 4 seconds between Iof William and the top 2 drivers here. Both of these drivers, though, are in contention for a fight right now for a podium finish here. I have zero doubt in my mind Reimer will be wanting it as he goes around the outs or into the inside of 130R. Side by side, a little bit of banging here as they come up onto the Casio triangle. Rebel gives up the position. A fantastic pass here from Reimer going through 130R. He doesn't have a family. He doesn't have kids. I'm kidding. I don't know if he does or doesn't. Fantastic maneuver here by Reimer as he moves up and gains a position. Mr. Boss, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, also has a tire pop. His left tire... His back left tire, unfortunately, for Mr. Boss is popped now. It seems that we're starting to see the major effects here of the 1 stop. And I'm curious if Iof Williams is going to be able to close this in time. We're seeing a masterclass of tire whispering right now from the top 2 drivers, considering that they're fighting right now, as well as Rebel almost loses control of the car coming out of turn 7. He's losing time to Reimer. He is losing time to Iof William, who is now within a 1.5 seconds. This has been a very intense final few laps here. Iof William and MSA Samad read the tire conditions perfectly, both of them pitting and gaining the advantage of fresher tires. Unfortunately, I think that Iof William was really the only one that was able to really jump on the opportunity due to the fact that he was obviously in first place by 3 seconds, so he managed to really not lose that much time to the rest of the grid realistically. Now, unfortunately, as we see Rebel lose control of the car, and Rebel's right tire pops going onto the straight coming up to 130R, and he loses the car entirely. Iof William is now on the rear of Reimer, unfortunately 3 seconds behind due to avoiding actions of Rebel's car loss here. A huge moment this race. Prosk now moving up into 4th position. MSA Samad now in 3rd position. If Prosk is able to close the gap to MSA Samad, Prosk may be able to get a podium from all of this. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we are having an incredible race here right now. The final bit of this stint here, having a lot of drama in it. Rebel, I'm surprised Rebel didn't DNF. We must have the damage off or something, because that Rebel completely lost the car on the straight, slammed straight into the wall. I'm astounded that his car didn't explode instantly. Unfortunately, what would have been a podium now results in Rebel just struggling to try to finish the race here. And Reimer, ladies and gentlemen, our tire whisperer of... Oh, is that a safety car? Why did they slow down? Focoena sets the fastest lap by 137.533. Rebel has retired from the session. A super unfortunate moment for the Alpine driver. Guys, oh, there's only Sector 3 left. No way something happens, right? Let's watch Reimer here. We did see Rebel's tire give out here. Something could happen. Oh, Reimer's left tire blew up. Back left tire blows up as he goes through 130R, losing control of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, Reimer, he's fading. Reimer has lost first place on the very final 2 corners of the track. IUF1 William and MSA Samad, a fantastic strategic call as they now move through the field, going through the Casio Triangle, coming up onto the final corner, turn 18. Why is he? Oh, IUF1 Williams, ladies and gentlemen, is your winner for the Suzuka wet race here. Reimer trying to push the car to the finish line right now. Mahmudov closing the gap. Proska's tires also popped now. Everybody's tires are popping right now. Reimer's trying to finish the race going backwards. Mahmudov crosses the finish line into 3rd position. Mudev has a 10-second penalty. If Reimer crosses the finish line fast enough, he's going to be able to get it. Reimer doesn't cross fast enough. Reimer does not cross fast enough. And Mudev finishes the race 3rd. Oh my goodness. Despy is going to finish in 5th. He did finish 5th. I'm so lost. What a finish. What a finish. I can't believe that just happened. Ladies and gentlemen, the last 2 or 3 laps, we had all of our leading drivers pop a tire. Reimer wasn't able to finish on a pop tire with only 3 corners left to go. A super, super huge moment in the race. Absolutely insane. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. I was not expecting that. Oh my goodness, guys. What a race. What an absolutely insane finish. Oh, my bronchitis is flaring up. The adrenaline. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jesus. Unreal strategy calls. You know what? I don't even know if Mudev would have pitted if it wasn't for the wing damage. Obviously, it worked out for him, oddly enough. Ladies and gentlemen, IUF1 William in the Aston Martin Aramco Formula 1 team. Fantastic drive from him. Followed by MSA Samad, who did join us late here today in the Kick Sauber. A fantastic drive as well. And then Mahmudov, who I believe may have had the most drama this race, from contact with MSA Samad, who is sharing the podium with now, to finishing in 3rd after a dramatic final 3 laps. I think it was lap after lap, our lead drivers' tires popped. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say. That was insane. That was awesome. Oh, all right. Throwing up the calendar here real quick before I leak anything. Fantastic finish, guys. I'm flabbergasted. I don't know what to say to that. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. I'm listening into the pit lane right now. I'm listening to some of these drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, IUF1 Williams has stated that he ran out of fuel at the top of the bridge on the final lap. This race has been absolutely unreal. That's why he slowed down. Oh my god. What was this race? Ladies and gentlemen, the reason that IUF1 Williams was slowing down at the end of the race wasn't to flex. It was because he was out of fuel. He was out of fuel. And MSA Samad would have won that if he didn't get a 10-second penalty. The rain wasn't strong enough for our drivers here to do a one stop. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, Reimer says, damn, that one hurts. 2 corners to go for the win and my tire blew. Prosk agrees here. I got a puncture with like 4 corners left and couldn't do it. It's insane. I am going to try to see if we can get any of these guys to join us in the commentators booth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here today. An absolutely insane last 8 laps of the race here. We had our winner, UF1 William, lose. He ran out of fuel. He ran out of fuel and only won because, oh my goodness, man. All right. Ugh. In fact, I am going to be getting IUF and William to join us here in the commentator booth. So do wait a little bit as we're going to be talking to our race winner. An insane finish. Let's see. Give me a quick second, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the commentator booth. Joining me here now is our race winner, IUF1 William. William, how do you feel, man? That was insane.
I literally it was chaotic race, and when I had a very good dominant race, and of course I was struggling with fuel throughout the race because my game crashed and I didn't have the chance to add more fuel so that I could push more. And since it was light rain, this track is going to wear out faster if the race went green. And I was doing very good. I made some couple of mistakes on when I go off the track like twice, and I'm trying to manage my tires as long as I could, and my fuel was wasting faster, like once a lap, like 10. The 10 number is each lap, and well,
yeah, I'm not too
for
sure
me,
what
I
to
was
tell.
doing very keeping cautious.
No, very fair. How did you feel on the final corner when you were completely out of fuel?
First off, before the pit stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like, I was living coasting like each corners, and I was like 20s, and there was really nothing I can do, and just hoping that I could make it, but it ran out of fuel literally at the final lap, and I was like, oh man, why lose again? And then I literally didn't expect that the leader Rainer, he had a puncher too, like in the final corner at 130R, and I was just screaming, go 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 go, and Samad, he had a 10-second penalty. I can win it, and it was insane. Final laps, like I was wow, and I just won the race while I got no fuel.
That's pretty crazy, to be honest.
That
I thought you slowed down to just be like, oh, I'm gonna say Samad has a 10-second penalty. I can just slow down. That's crazy that you ran out of fuel, man. That's insane. I can't believe it. No.
yeah, it was unexpected. It was crazy, and I was hoping I could make it to the finish line so that I could not get to my Samad within 10 seconds, but he passed me anyways, and Samad got a 10-second penalty for speeding. So if he doesn't have the removal, then my race will be saved, and literally won the race yet again. Like wow.
No, you've had two fantastic races so far. This one and then the last one in Brazil. Um, I'm super excited to see you in Qatar. Huge congratulations, William. I mean, I think this has been the
Thank you.
craziest, one of the craziest races, if not the craziest finishes of the races this season. So huge congrats. Enjoy yourself for the rest of the night, man. This is a race to be proud of here. Fantastic pole,
Yeah.
fantastic drive, and again, I'm excited to see you in Qatar, man. Have a good day.
I'm not looking forward for Qatar. I am not good in Qatar, and I'm not going to win races anytime soon. If there's no let me see the calendar. If there's a possible rain races, Monza, Dutch, in Austria. If there's rain races, I can easily win there. If there's rain races, that is.
Yeah.
In Qatar, absolutely not.
Don't sell yourself short, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the reign master of the PSF1 League here, IUF1 William. But yeah, thank you very much again. I'm excited to see what you do, man. Don't sell yourself short. I do have to meet with another driver here, but another huge congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Our Suzuka winner, pole position, first place. I mean, fantastic race, William.
Call it Sword Art Online Grand Prix. Kirito wants the race.
Excuse me.
In his home track.
No, enjoy yourself. I don't know.
Good night.
I wish I had a real trophy to hand you, man. I was losing my mind, but I do have another driver waiting for me, William. Again, huge congrats.
Thank you.
Much
Good night.
love. Yeah, enjoy yourself. Have a great night tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me here in the booth now after IUF1 William, our Rainmaster here, is Prosk. Prosk, how do you feel after that race?
That was a tough one. That was a tough one for sure. A little bit sad, but it is what it is.
Yes, you got to put your head down and look forward to the next one. What was the obviously the strategy call ended up being a huge major factor, especially in the final 3 laps. What made you want to just do the one stop?
I don't know. I was like kind of in a no man's land, and I pitted like later than most people except for Boss. So I decided to just kind of send it and see. I thought I could make it work, and I was like really close to making it work, but didn't in the end.
That's fair. You had mentioned it in the paddock that the driving with the popped tires like impossible. Were previous iterations of the game more drivable, or
I have no clue. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've ever punctured in F1, so couldn't tell you.
A unique moment. Then no, that's very fair. How throughout the race you had some pretty good battles. Like you said, you were kind of a little bit in no man's land. I really thought you were going to get a podium by the end there.
I mean, if you look at where Mahmuda finished, P3, I was in front of him, so I could have, if my tire didn't pop.
Well,
oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I noticed that a lot of the drivers in the paddock weren't anticipating how light the rain was gonna be. I assume this was the same case for you.
Yeah, I just the tire wear was crazy, bro. Like
Yes.
it was just like, I don't know. It's raining and my tires are my tires are getting to 70% or 75 in 13 laps. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. But
really? Oh my goodness.
yeah, that was the first stint. 13 laps, 75%. And my second stint was even worse because 14 laps, it popped to 86. So, and I was like, I should have realized earlier that they were gonna puncture and like really drove conservatively, because I had a lot more time than I used above Mahmudov.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I could have driven more conservatively. I was already lifting and coasting a lot, because another thing was, for some reason on this track, in the rain, fuel is a big factor. I fueled for like 0.3 extra, and I was running out of fuel like in lap 15. Or not running out, but it was already at 0.0
Yeah.
at lap 15.
I noticed a lot of drivers with low fuel very early into the race. It seemed to be nobody was ready with how fast or dry, I guess, the conditions were going to be. Excuse me.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, even if it were dry though, like it wouldn't be this bad on the fuel side. So I don't really know why that was. I don't know if it's just like a Japan thing.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear. Yeah, thank you for the technical breakdown on that. I was super curious as to why Gunner very early into the race got yellow fuel, I guess, on his on the car. Rebel followed very shortly after, but no, very interesting race in Suzuka. Considering that you mentioned that you were a few drinks in, I think you had a pretty fantastic sprint and feature race, man. Honestly.
Well, considering the fact that I didn't really set a time in the sprint, like I qualified P15 in the sprint. That was horrible.
No,
I didn't really set a time.
You had a great comeback though. You finished 7th. That was pretty
yeah,
crazy.
I finished 7th in both races. So that's not bad. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I really haven't been practicing at all, and I had like 4 drinks and a big ass shot of Jameson, you know, during the past game. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
So that's exciting.
Let's go.
But yeah, I was a little bit feeling it there. Towards the end, it was just like, I mean, I started to lock in a little bit. I'm definitely gonna practice more for the next race and hopefully get back to the podium if I can. It was nice to have a full lobby there. It was like 19 people.
It was
pretty cool.
It was pretty crazy. We had a few of them leave, unfortunately, but it was a pretty crazy lobby. So I'll leave you with one more question here. How do you feel about Qatar then? Are you anticipating a good race?
I don't anticipate it to be my best track. I feel like medium to high speed corners like that are not my best thing. So we're gonna see. But I will practice, and I will hope that I can kind of lock in for it. I think I can do well.
That's right. That's what I like to hear. Fantastic race, Prost. Thank you for joining me here today in the booth as well.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Prosk, our Williams driver. We did see fantastic racing from him as well today, but that was our Suzuka race here today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. That was an insane final 8 laps, man. I didn't realize that the conditions would be the way they were. But as I just mentioned with Prosk, we will be racing in Qatar for a double point race next week, February 1st. So do tune in for that. That will be leading into our driver championship race with the Monza, Dutch, and Austria sprint. So very, very fun little set of races left to go before we have our PSF1 Season 13 winner. I've been your commentator and host here today. My name is Wild Hero. If you're interested in joining the PSF1 League, please leave a comment, or you can click on some of the links we have below the stream. And with that, I will wish everybody here a fantastic, fantastic week.